There's absolutely nothing louder than the silence of God when you're desperate for an answer. You've checked every box, you've prayed, you've fasted, you've been good, and then just crickets. It really makes you feel invisible if we're going to be completely honest. It makes you feel like maybe you've done something wrong, or maybe God has moved on and is helping someone else that may be higher on the list than you, or whatever the case may be. If that's where you are today, or even close to that, stop scrolling, sit through this video, and we're going to talk about how the silence actually saves us. Okay, so here's one way to think about it. There's many ways. Here's one way to think about it. And this is going to be like a comparison to a GPS. Think about like when you're driving on a long stretch of a highway and the GPS told you like 20 miles ago, stay on I-75 north. Until there's a turn, there's a hazard, something's in the street, police warning or something like that, the GPS is silent. The GPS doesn't keep saying, oh, you're doing great. Oh, you're still on track. You're basically already doing the last thing that the GPS told you to do. So you're good for right now. The GPS doesn't need to give you any more warnings or instructions. Sometimes God is silent because you're currently walking out the last instruction that he gave to you. He doesn't need to keep repeating himself because he trusts that you'll do what he told you to do the first time. Are you looking for a new word because you're tired of the last one? Just take a moment and just trust the last thing that he said. Another way to kind of think about it is like trying to do a comparison to like a teacher. Think back to being in school. When was the teacher the most silent? You're right, during the test. The teachers, usually they're like lecturing or, teaching you your ABCs, whatever the case may be. But when it's test time, the teacher kind of just sits there at their desk or whatever, and they're completely silent. The teacher hasn't stopped being a teacher during the test. They're just kind of sitting there waiting for you to show them what you've learned. They're sitting there in the room rooting for you, watching you, but they're not giving you the answers because they've already given you everything you need to succeed. God isn't ignoring you. He's being the proctor of the exam. I don't know if some of you guys have ever had like a proctor, like when you take some like LSAT, GMAT, that kind of thing, when you go take it and there's like that person there that's like watching your every move to make sure you're not cheating. God wants to basically see if you'll trust him when you can't hear him. For those of you who do study the Bible, you know this, between like the Old Testament and the New Testament, there was about 400 years of silence. God didn't, like, prior to that, there were all these prophets and all that, but like for 400 years, there was no prophet. They didn't hear anything. So can you imagine what the people were thinking back then? They were used to God like speaking to them directly, or speaking, like giving the prophet, a prophetic word to tell them whatever. But like for 400 years, they had nothing. But we say, it was silent. Of course, to the people back then, it was, silent or whatever. But what they didn't realize was God was still moving in the background, getting everything ready, setting the stage for Jesus to arrive on the scene. And then if you think about it, like Jesus was crucified on Friday, and then there was that Saturday. And that Saturday was kind of just like dead silence. A lot of people thought Jesus, he was dead, he was gone, it was over. That was it. There was nothing else. But in that silent, God was like doing the most important thing of all of time and of the universe. He was like conquering death. So we have to put that into perspective with our lives. Our silent Saturday is usually the day before the resurrection Sunday. A lot of times we view silence as a sign of a broken relationship. Like, let's say you're on a first date and there's this silence or whatever. You're thinking like, dang, this is not working out at all, or whatever. Probably don't want to go on a second date, whatever. But then think about if you've been married for 30 years or something, you're sitting out on the porch in the sunshine or whatever, and there's just silence, and you guys just enjoying it, soaking it all in, then that's a good thing. Maybe God right now is inviting you into that good place where words are not needed, where you can literally just be in his presence, just like that couple that's been married for 30 years sitting on the porch. They're just happy to be together in each other's presence. Maybe this is the place we are with God right now. We should stop just trying to fill the silence with all this noise and just sit here and soak it all in and enjoy the moment. You can even do a silent prayer. You can just sit there in silence. God knows what's on your mind. I encourage you to give that a try. So if you're in a silent season right now, it doesn't mean you're forgotten. And I know this can be hard because, to be completely honest, I'm in a silent season right now. Also, it seems like God is just like not literally saying anything. This could mean, though, that you're being prepared for something. Maybe God is working in the dark and the light is coming, and it might be coming real soon. If this video gave you a little soul fuel, go ahead and hit the like. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. And also turn on the notifications so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Also, I want to hear, put this in the comments. I want to hear if you ever had a season of silence that ended up in a major blessing. I really want to hear this. This could encourage me, and it also could encourage others that are watching this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.